Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, everybody, to the TFL podcast. It's great to have you here. And as you may notice, I am by myself. No, not quite. Arch is away. He's off having a little holiday. It's the school holidays, which is fantastic. So, lucky him. However, he's left me to run this ship. And, well, what we've got is CMOS, Chris from the Sheep Station Dynasty Podcast. Thank you so much for jumping on board.
Oh, anytime. Look, big shoes to fill, but, school holidays, I guess you got to take advantage of it. And you guys can travel and we can't, but... So here I am.
That's it. Well, I'm glad you're here. It's nice to not talk to just, dead air and have someone to talk to about this stuff. So, it's great to have you on board. So, Chris, give us a bit of a rundown. What's the Sheep Station Dynasty Podcast, and how long have you guys been going at that?
Oh, yeah. Look, it started as just your standard run-of-the-mill redraft league, and then we kind of figured out that we had a few blokes that were pretty keen to rip into this dynasty thing. And, we've been going now for, I think it's 4 or 5 years on that original league, and picked up a few other leagues and started a little sneaky podcast to kind of increase the banter within the league, and it's kind of snowballed from there.
Nice.
So yeah, look, we've been podcasting now for a few years, but finally I think we've hit the right formula, and trying to put out some good content.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'll back that for sure. I've been listening the last few months, which has been good, and I love your little takes and analysis there. You even got your beers of the week and stuff like that as well, which we all love to hear about. That's good.
It's always funny. Trying to find that beer to play comparison is always a bit of a stretch, but we give it a red hot go.
No, I think sometimes you hit the nail on the head. Guys, if you're listening, you can also catch us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and our Patreon at the TFL Podcast, and our website, thetflpodcast.com. Always appreciate a 5-star review, of course. I'm sure you've given one, Chris.
Oh, of course. Yep. I think I've given 5 or 6 5-star reviews.
That's all I like to hear. Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, look, without further ado, and I'm afraid for everyone who's used to listening to the pod, I actually don't have the drop tonight for the weekly preview. So you're just going to have to do with this bit of a wind-up from me. We're just going to jump in. We're going to jump into the weekly preview. So we're going to run through all our matchups. We're going to talk a bit of DFS. We're going to talk redraft as well. And look, I'll ask Chris for some special comments on maybe some dynasty takes as well as we push through the podcast as also. Anyway, we'll focus on the main slate. But we'll talk briefly about the showdown games as well, the Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football games as well. So let's jump into Thursday night. It's an interesting game. It's something that I probably am kind of looking forward to, but any other year I wouldn't be. It's Jacksonville Jaguars taking on Cincinnati Bengals. Chris, are you looking forward to seeing Trevor take on Joe Burrow?
Well, yeah, the battle of the number 1 overall picks, right? So
yeah, that's right.
I suppose Lawrence has got a fair bit to show after his lackluster first 3 weeks. I think Burrow's been performing pretty bloody well. So, it'd be interesting to see. I think the Bengals probably get up considerably here, but it's going to be an interesting game, that's for sure. Hopefully it's just not a snooze fest and the Bengals roll over them, but see how we go.
You'd like to see a bit of a fight, wouldn't you, from Trevor? I think he's been throwing the ball a lot. He's really been kind of getting them moving. He hasn't really been dinking and dunking so much. He's really tried to push them down the field. So he's just throwing interceptions, though. I think he's tied with Zach Wilson for 7 interceptions on the year, the most interceptions. So I think if you're going to play a showdown, I think the Bengals defense is definitely in play because you've got those turnovers that are likely to come if we're going to base it off the last 3 weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. Cardinals put up 22 points or something last week, so it's probably a safe play.
Yeah, I agree. So looking at that, I think you can play the defense. That's for sure. What do you make of Laviska at the moment? He's kind of in between. DJ Chark and Marvin Jones seem to be the number 1 and 2, but everyone was really high, especially in Dynasty land, as you're probably aware. Like Laviska was a hot commodity for a while there.
Yeah, definitely. He's kind of almost a trade target for me, but people just wanted a little bit too much for him in that offseason. There was a whole lot of hype over him, and I think what he's put up, not even 100 yards across 3 games, and one of them he went for negative. So, it's hard to kind of buy into that hype now after seeing the first kind of 3 or 4 games or 3 games. So you're hoping for some improvement, but I don't see it happening anytime soon anyway until they sort out this offense.
No, I agree. I think that, they need to figure something out, that's for sure. The running backs are a bit of a mess. Carlos Hyde's mixing in more than you'd like there. So James Robinson, I guess he's a bit of a flex play in redraft, but you can't trust him. I wouldn't like to have him as my RB2. Let's put it
I'm
that
actually
way.
starting both of these running backs in a couple of leagues as my RB1 and 2, so I'm quite invested in this game. I lost Etienne and I lost Dobbins and I lost Akers in the offseason. So.
Yikes. Yeah, that hurts.
Rough.
That stinks. Joe Mixon, though, he's just showing that, he's giving the Bengals the opportunity to be a really balanced offense, which is quite nice.
Yeah, he was definitely a target of mine in the off season. I was pushing by this guy. He's going to get so much work, and he's looking really, really good.
Yeah,
he's a smash for tomorrow's game for sure.
Yeah, I think he's a shoo-in for potentially for 20 half PPR points. That's for I'd go that for sure. All right, well there you go. I think he can play quite a few of those guys, but let's move into the main slate. We're going to push into the 1 a.m. games. We've got Washington taking on Atlanta. Washington are 1.5 point favorites. There's a 48.5 point total. So you think there's going to be points scored here. Chris, off the bat, is there someone here that you think is a sneaky play this week, or like Atlanta have been scored on a lot? So is there someone on the Washington side that you like? I wouldn't normally start them, but potentially I would.
Well, on the Washington side, I mean Logan Thomas and Terry McLaurin, you're probably going to give a nod here. The volume's just there, I guess. I'm actually looking quite a lot at the Atlanta side of the ball. Washington are giving up a lot of points to the quarterback and wide receiver duo. So as opposed to the Washington side, outside the main two, I struggle to find a starter outside of those two targets.
What about Antonio Gibson? Where are you at with him?
I'm struggling with him. I want to love him, but apart from maybe a big play or two, he's been a few weeks where he would have been disappointing apart from that one or two plays. So I don't know. I still battle to want to start him, but yeah, look, I suppose there's a lot of people that can't do much better in their RB2 spot, right?
No, that's right. And people were taking him in redraft in that second round, and I even saw him climbing to the end of the first a couple of times. So. Yeah, you'd hate to be that guy to have drafted him so early. It's still early in the season, though. Look, for me, I'm looking at this game and I go, yeah, you've got two defenses here that have been just absolutely rubbish throughout the first 3 weeks. Atlanta, you weren't surprised by, and then Washington, you thought were going to be like a top 5 defense potentially this year, but they've really, really struggled. So, looking at this, this is a game where I think points can be scored, and potentially. Like if you got with Gibson, I think if Washington do get up, then Gibson could be in line for potentially a couple of touchdowns. So I think there's a risk there involved, but Gibson could be a good play. And if you're stuck playing him because you drafted him so high, then I think you have to hope at least that this is going to be the play.
Too right.
The other guy that I'm looking at here on the other side of the ball, which I'm always intrigued by, is Cordarrelle Patterson. He's basement price on Draft Stars. He's 4,900 on DraftKings. So you're getting him cheap. Like these are both PPR formats. So I'm looking at this and going, okay, potentially like Patterson will play that receiver, and like Russell Gage, he didn't practice Wednesday. With him, if he misses again, Cordarrelle Patterson could be in line for a lot of touches. What do you think, Chris, on Cordarrelle?
I don't mind it. They're trying to work him in. You can see it. They're obviously not trusting Mike Davis as much as you would have hoped at the start of the year. And you see him on, just kind of running back screens and getting some decent carries, some goal line carries as well. It's not a bad shout. I'm trying to acquire him in a couple of leagues actually, but once again, prices are at a premium. So look, it's not a bad nod. I'd be starting him over Mike Davis, to be honest, if it's me.
Yeah, I agree. Like Davis isn't showing anything in the passing game, anything of note anyway. So, Patterson's probably a good player. If he's going to sit at 8K basement price on Draft Stars, then I think he's going to find his way into a few of my lineups. Otherwise, though, this is probably not a game I'm going to stack heaps. It's a tricky one to kind of go. I think there's better games to stack. So there
is a sneaky option at the quarterback position with Matt Ryan. As I said, the football team are literally dead last at giving up points to the quarterback. So got to look out for that. And then wide receiver, they're second last. So maybe it's that Ridley game that everyone's been waiting for the last couple of weeks. So it's a potential stack between Ryan and Ridley.
For sure. And you're going to get real low roster percentage on that, I think, as well. So, look, I don't mind it, Chris. I don't mind it, for sure. Next up, we got Detroit at the Bears. Detroit almost stealing a win from the Ravens. However, Justin Tucker just proved to everyone that he is the greatest kicker in the league at the moment. Far out. Right. That was
just hung there too when he hit the bar. I was like, oh, is it in or is it?
Yeah.
And it just hits the back of the net. Yeah. Very good.
He's perfect. That's for sure. But Detroit, they look, Hockenson disappointed big time last week after the first 2 weeks where he was just peppered with it. Hockenson couldn't get anything going. Do you think he bounces back here against the Bears?
I think it's a chance. I don't know. This is a strange game. Detroit, they're just playing better than everyone expected, right?
They are.
So hopefully they've gained a few fans off this, and some of their fan base is kind of hanging around, showing a bit of fight. They could easily be a kick away and a sneaky little comeback away from 2-1 sort of thing. So I'd say they've been a bit unlucky, and they've looked a lot better than what I thought. But Hockenson, I think you'd hope to see him get back up there, right? You'd hope to at least see from this game at least 6 or 7 targets. I don't know who else they're going to throw the ball to. There's no one else is standing out for the Lions, so it's tough.
I know, really. You're thinking about target leaders, and I know DeAndre Swift is the guy that comes to mind, really, and that's kind of scary. You're not going to want to play in the main slate here. Any of the wide receivers, maybe no. Quintus Cephas obviously had a good first 2 weeks as well. I think
he's got a touchdown though. Outside of that, it's just
yeah, that's right. So it's a punt play, that's for sure. Yeah. Looking at the other side of the ball, the Bears, man, hasn't Allen Robinson just been a disappointment all the way through? And if Fields is back on the field, then I don't know. Like it's so funny to think that everyone was really pushing for Dalton to just get benched.
Yep.
And here comes Justin Fields onto the play, and he absolutely just is
put rubbish. Up a stinker.
A big stinker. Do you think he can bounce back here against the Lions? It should be an easier matchup. But
yeah, that's the thing. It's a better matchup, right? I think there's some coaching issues here that has been well advertised over the last couple of days. The game plan just was not there for him last week. I mean, take 9 sacks. It's a pretty rough intro to your NFL career, right?
Huge,
yeah, this is a good bounce back opportunity for him if they make some alterations and some adjustments based off last week. But you want to see that first before you put any bets on this bloke, I reckon, because last week was ultimately bad.
Oh, yeah. Shocking. All right. It's a game that I'll probably avoid. It's low scoring in DFS, so 42.5 point total. It's a bit of an ugly one. The Bears defense is priced up, and I can understand why, but from what we've seen of the Detroit Lions over the last few weeks, I don't know. I think I'll avoid the Bears defense as well. But the Lions defense on the other side of the ball, the Lions defense is real cheap. 2,200 on DraftKings, 4,970 on DraftStars. Going up against Fields that had showed very little last week. I think if you're going to really go low on the defense in DFS, which you like to do, you don't want to spend up too often at the defense position. I think I could go the Lions here. Chris, what do you think?
There's probably a sack floor here, right? There's probably 3 or 4 sacks if it's Fields, of course, playing the full 60 minutes. But you're hoping for a few more. They've probably got that floor that you could take a punt on them for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next up. Speaking of games that are probably going to just be, I don't know, another just a smashing. Tennessee Titans take on the New York Jets. We've got a 46-point total here. Tennessee are 7.5 point favorites. The question I think on this slate really is: do you or do you not play Derrick Henry?
Yes.
Derrick Henry, surely he just runs over the Jets. Like,
what was it? 46 points they reckon. I reckon he'll get all 46 points.
Very possible.
Yeah, this is a cake matchup for him. If he doesn't score at least 2 touchdowns and 150 yards, I'll be shocked.
For sure. He's priced at 8,800 on DraftKings, which is sub 9,000 is great. And he's getting targets as well. This guy's getting quite a few targets every game that it's quite shocking, really. So surely they just lean on him.
Question marks at wide receiver this week as well. AJ Brown injured, Julio Jones injured. So who knows what's going to go on there. Give me all of it. Give me all of Derrick Henry. If I had a start of the week, I'd just put him, just play him as the one position and only him, and you're probably going to win.
He's going to win so many matchups, 100%. You've put here Nick Westbrook-Akeen. Basement on draft stars, 6,000. 78% of snaps last week, 4 for 4, 53 yards and a touchdown. Not bad if you can repeat anything like that, right? So, especially if you've got Jones and AJ Brown out, you got to look. They got to pass somewhere. They can't.
That's it.
Like they might have 45 touches to Derrick Henry, but surely there's another 10 touches that got to go somewhere else. So.
Could go to the running back as well. Jeremy McNichols might be a bit of a beneficiary of it. He's shown a bit of pass-catching resume. But outside of that, I don't really know who it was. And Westbrook-Akeen, however you say his last name, probably should have checked on that. But, look, he looked good last week. I've picked him up in a few spots because who else are they going to throw it to, as you said?
That's it. Probably no one.
Cheap as. I mean, basement price, as you said. So you could potentially do worse if you're in a spot.
Yeah. That's right. Chester Rogers, he showed up. I think, did he catch a touchdown last week or the week before?
Sounds familiar.
Yes. Anyway, there you go. Another Titans guy that you can probably get for really cheap down the bottom there. Are you going to play any Jets? Corey Davis is probably the one I have a question mark around.
Yeah. I mean, last week you probably had the same question, right? And they put up a big fat donut. So it's tough to start any Jets with confidence anyway. I mean, first couple of weeks, you saw a bit of chemistry there, but that chemistry seems to have gone down the sink. So, I don't know. I don't want to start any Jets. I could see them being held out again almost here. So,
yeah, I agree. I think the question for me will be whether the Titans can really put the pressure on Zach Wilson. I think that will that will dictate a lot of what happens in this game because Wilson under pressure is being atrocious. He's not used to it. I was listening. I can't remember who I was listening to, but either way, they're talking about how obviously Zach Wilson came from a college where he didn't get pressured. His offensive line was great. He's not used to this at all. So if the Titans can, if they lay off on that pressure, then potentially we see Wilson pushed down the ground. I think Corey Davis is the most likely guy here, but either way, I think it's Derrick Henry, and then maybe you take a punt on one of those wide receivers. But otherwise, not much else here.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Derrick Henry is going to feast. That's all I'll say.
Oh, yeah. Next up, Cleveland Browns at Minnesota. This is an interesting game. This is going to be a good one. We've got Cleveland as 2.5-point favorites. There's a 53.5-point total, so people are going to focus in on this game when it comes to DFS, and potentially that also means that some of those kind of flex plays in your redraft leagues, like you might want to push into this game because there's going to be a chance for more points to go to. Jarvis Landry, he's on IR, so we're not going to see him. OBJ's back. But then we've seen Kirk Cousins be really solid at quarterback so far this year. Baker Mayfield's going to probably lean on the run a little bit more, so there's so many possible plays in this game, Chris. Yeah. I don't really know where to start. Maybe let's talk about the running backs. You've got Dalvin Cook, who's still limited in practice, so may not see him. Madison was a very, very good fill-in last week, but could he do that again against the Browns and their defense?
Bit of a better defensive line, I think. You might see him get found out a bit if he was to come back and fill in, but Dalvin Cook, too expensive for a bloke who's coming off an injury against a good defensive line as well. So I'm almost saying just temper your expectations rather than not start him, of course. But if you're in these cash games, I probably wouldn't be leaning on him. It'd be hard to see if Cook's there, Madison getting enough work, unless they're trying to ease him back in and put him on a snap count or something like that. But I think it's going to be too important in the game. I mean, their record is not on their side, right? They've had some close losses, and this is a big game against the Browns. I mean, the Browns are going to want to win as well. So, hard to see Madison getting enough work if Cook's there. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt on the other side of the field. If you've got both of them and you're starting both of them, I don't think it's a bad play, to be honest. They're both scoring mid-teen points every week, so it's tough to sit them.
It is really tough to sit them. Both of these guys are just in the game plan. And that's what you love to see. Like, it's almost like you see that in a few places, don't you? I guess Dallas, like, Pollard's being moved in and stuff like that. You've got Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon in Denver. It's not often you see fantasy relevance come out of these situations, but we're really seeing that here in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. So it's pretty nice. I think Nick Chubb at $7K is not bad price for DK, and then he's even cheaper, like comparatively, on Draft Stars at 13,000. So looking at that, Nick Chubb's I think got a really good shot at kind of paying that off. That's for sure. So if you're looking for, I think, a safe play, I think Nick Chubb is there. You've got Adam Thielen now and Justin Jefferson. Thielen is, in terms of pricing, he's sitting there as the second guy, but we know every week that Adam Thielen can potentially be the better scorer than Jefferson. What do you like? How do you see these two? Do you kind of see them as equals in terms of their scoring potential, or do you see Jefferson as definitely the one that has the highest ceiling?
It's the 1A, 1B for me. It's Thielen around the red zone and then Jefferson for the rest of it. You could see Jefferson's putting up sort of 120 yards and 0 touchdowns, whereas you'll see Thielen score about 40 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's like, well, you're going to shoot for the touchdowns or you're going to shoot for the yardage and hope that he breaks one off. I'm probably going to start Jefferson over him here, over Thielen this one. I think they're going to have to rely on him a little bit more. I think the target volume is probably going to be up a little bit because, as it says, lots of points going to be scored here. Well, that's the prediction, right? So, I think Jefferson's probably going to be lent on a little bit more this game. I like it.
No,
I like it.
I like that too. I think, you can easily do a Minnesota stack, and you can easily bring in some of these other guys, like KJ Osborne. He had a quiet week last week. Yes, it was a Tyler Conklin show.
Oh, give me Tyler Conklin at that price. 3,500 on DraftKings. Thanks for coming.
That's right. 66.20 on Draft Stars, so that's still cheap-ish for your tight end. So, look, Tyler Conklin, could he be what we wanted Irv Smith to be? That's the question.
Could be the guy. I like it.
Yeah, so I like that. I like that for sure. So I could easily roll a Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, or Justin Jefferson, and then throw in a Conklin or an Osborne there to kind of mix that up, and then run it back with a Nick Chubb or a Kareem Hunt. OBJ though,
it's risky.
Where do you see this guy? This OBJ is an enigma to me.
He is. It's I don't even know if inconsistent's the right word. He's just, you know what? Enigma is the perfect word for him. He pops up every now and then, puts up a big performance, but then he just vanishes, and then someone else just gets a massive target volume. So I can't remember what his stats were last week. I'm just quickly having a look at it because obviously Landry wasn't there as well last week. 5 receptions, 9 targets, 77 yards. Had a sneaky rush attempt in there as well. So I suppose the volume's there, but first game back off injury, you're probably going to see an increased target share and increased volume. He only played 64% of snaps according to Sleeper, so probably going to see that uptick.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, OBJ should definitely move into more playing time. That's for sure. So if you like him, he's more okay on DraftKings. DraftKings is 5,800, so he's a sub 6,000. So he's a guy that could easily give you 3 times on that. 12,000 on Draft Stars is a little bit too steep for me. Yeah. I think I'll probably avoid on that. But so look, OBJ, he's the enigma. We'll go with that. Any of the tight ends? Obviously, we mentioned Conklin, but
I'm going after Conklin for sure. And I think the Browns, it's 1 week it's Njoku, 1 week it was Hooper, going off my memory, if it serves correctly. But I'm putting Conklin into a lineup. For sure. I think I've already put him in my free sneaky little Draft Stars entry that you can do, the free one. I'm pretty sure I've put him in there. So
nice.
Look, he's a pretty good play here, I reckon.
No, for sure. No, I like that.
I think the Browns give up kind of middle of the pack for tight end points as well. So you could do worse, I think, here. I think they're averaging sort of 7-8 points, but look, you could do a lot worse in the tight end landscape.
Yeah, that's it. It's always a crapshoot, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we got the Colts taking on the Dolphins. Another low point total here. Miami are 1.5 point favorites, 43.5 points total. It's so low.
Mm-hmm.
I think looking at this, it makes me kind of sick, this game. I just don't want to do anything with this game. It feels kind of gross. But then, I don't know, you see Pittman break out and have 120 odd yards a couple weeks ago, and Carson Wentz is still there. He's still quarterbacking for him. What do you make of this game? Is there anything here that gets you excited? Because it doesn't for me.
No, I looked at this game just before, and we do a sneaky little we got our bets with mates, whatever you want to do, and we put a dollar multi on every single game, right, just to see if we can hit 1 week. And I looked at this game and I was just like, oh God, I don't know who is going to win this. Like, Wentz is playing on one ankle between the two of them. Jonathan Taylor's not exactly what you expected. You were paying a first-round price for him, and he hasn't exactly returned on that investment. Myles Gaskin, there was a little bit of hope for the Dolphins. I was a bit of a truther on him. Haven't seen much about him.
No.
To be honest, I think I kind of want to avoid this game altogether.
Yeah, me too. I think I couldn't call anyone on here a safe play.
Definitely not.
But the safest play, the one person that I might have a go at on DraftKings is Nahim Heinz.
Yep.
Something
we're going to stop agreeing on everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be a boring podcast if we keep agreeing on stuff.
I mean, Nahim Heinz he's catching the passes, and they're working him into the game. He's there in the red zone, and he's just a safety blanket for Carson Wentz. So if you want to take a punt in a game like this, if it's, tough defenses and they're not getting much movement, I could see Nahim Heinz getting, 7 receptions and potentially a touchdown. Who knows? So for that price, Nahim Heinz is someone that, I don't know, I would consider the safest play. But let's be honest, this is a really rubbish game.
Yeah,
and
you see 43.5 points, and I still want to go under.
Yeah,
I still do. I just don't know. I haven't watched too many. I haven't studied these games from the Colts too much, but from what I've watched, it's just they're not quite there. Sneaky one here, the tight end, Mike Kasich. Just have a look at him. What did he have? 12 targets last week with Jacoby Brissett. So it's going to run it back again. Maybe he's a good play at tight end with that kind of volume. This is what I was hoping for at the start of the year from him, but didn't quite kick off like that. Hopefully they continue with that kind of connection, because that's exactly what you want out of the tight end position. 12 targets, 10 receptions. Can't do much better than that.
No, it's true. Here you go. I'll counter you here, though, and I'll say that the Colts have only been giving up 9 DK points to the tight end position as a whole. That's in the bottom 10. Yep. So there you go. I'll give you a little bit of a straight back.
You fight back. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's right.
But target volume, if there's 12 targets again, surely he's going to catch them, right? Yeah.
No, I agree.
No, don't agree. Right. You just said you don't agree.
No. I play the nice guy here. This is Archer's the one that loves to give the the cuts and the
right, gotcha.
Have a go at everyone. Anyway, I'm going to bore you now, Chris. I'm going to read a couple of ads. So
I love ads.
Do our part for the pod. That's it. So, hey, week 3 gave us everything that we could ask for and then some. We had so much more fun that we are running back for week 4 with our friends at DraftKings. This week, all users will have their shot at $1 million top prize. DraftKings will have tons of contests with absolutely massive prizes, so there's no better time to get in on the action. Here's how it works. 1, sign up for your DraftKings account. 2, make a first-time deposit. Enter your favorite contests. 3, choose your players while staying within the $50,000 cap. 4, follow the action and take your shot at glory and massive prizes. So, what are you waiting for? It's time to take on the competition. Take a shot at $1 million US, by the way. Just go to dkng.co/TFL to sign up and get started. That's dkng.co/TFL. It's a global contest. Entry fees and prizes are in US dollars, not available to residents of SA. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Gamble responsibly. Think about your choices. Call Gambling Help 1-800-858-858. www.gamblinghelponline.org.au. Eligibility restrictions apply. See au.draftkings.com for details. And of course, guys, we love each and every one of you for taking the time to listen to us. Your support does mean the world. We really appreciate it. So one way that you can help keep this pod going is to support us on our Patreon. Base supported tier starting at $2 a month. Guys, that's like half a cup of coffee a month. You can afford that. You can help support our Aussie-based DFS and Redraft pod. Benefits of joining our Patreon include gaining access to our detailed play projections, as well as getting exclusive access to our cash game lineup each week. So for less than the cost of a cup of coffee, come join us at patreon.com/the TFL podcast. There you go, Chris. They're over now. You can tune back in.
Love your work. Show me how it's done, eh?
Oh, dear. Carolina
Cracky
Panthers
It's like I've been doing it for years.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Something I really want to be good at is ad reads. That's
Mate, they help. That's it. They help you
keep
this going. And I tell you what, us Aussie fantasy community, it's definitely growing. And I think we all appreciate the support. And you guys are doing a killer job. So love your work.
Appreciate that, Chris. No, for sure. It's got to keep growing it here in Australia,
Right.
for sure. All right, Panthers taking the Cowboys. This is a
fun game.
I'm really excited about this game. Dallas are 4.5 point favorites with a 50.5 point total. To be honest here, give me Sam Darnold. Give me Sam Darnold in this game. If we're going to talk quarterbacks, from a DFS standpoint, Darnold's not going to have high rostership. He's 6K on DK. He's 13-1 on Draft Stars. You could pair this guy up with DJ Moore and, hey, heck, even Tommy Tremble.
Oh, give me Tuba Hubbard.
Yes. I don't know what it is about this Carolina team, but I feel like they're being underrated. I honestly think this team can really push far this season, and Darnold's going to come out of his shell. He's going to be anti-Adam Gase, and he's going to be really solid. So, look, I love Sam Darnold in this. The defense has been really good. Dak Prescott has shown that he actually can put up a bit of a stinker if the game script doesn't go his way, if they have to rely on Zeke and Pollard. So, I don't know here, Chris. There's something about this game that, I don't know, I'm just excited to see the Panthers take on a rubbish secondary and really kind of go for it.
This is actually the game I'll be watching with a very high-powered microscope. Let's go electron microscope, because I tell you what, it's pretty much, are the Panthers legit? Because let's say it's been a cake matchup so far. They had the Jets to start, snuck a win out. Somehow they just rolled over the Saints. I don't think anyone was expecting that. But then they had the Texans as well. 2 out of those 3 games, pretty ordinary. This is the litmus test, though. Against the Cowboys, who we know can put up some points, are the Carolina Panthers for real? And this game will give us a good indication. And the next couple, then they've got the Eagles and Minnesota. So their schedule is definitely getting a little bit harder. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can put up points. So I'm a little bit hesitant at the moment to start the Sam Darnold, DJ Moore stack, just because of that reason. I suppose the Cowboys secondary, as you said, is very, very ordinary. But this is the first time I think they're going to be really, really tested to play from behind. And yeah, Sam Darnold escaped from Gase. Let's see if that's actually a true thing, hey?
For sure. The big question mark on the Panther side at the moment for me is Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening there? He was not involved against the Texans until that he had 1 catch in the last quarter. It was quite bizarre for me. I thought coming into the year that Anderson he'd benefit from having Sam Darnold come in. He's played with him before. There's a rapport there, and last year he was the possession guy, but now we've seen that totally flip. DJ Moore's really come into his own, which is, I think, great. I love DJ Moore. DJ Moore's probably going to find the end zone hopefully a little bit more this year, because it was atrociously bad, that touchdown percentage for what he should have got last year. So, yeah, look, what do you make of Robbie Anderson? And on that, what do you make of Terrace Marshall? Like, from a dynasty standpoint,
Marshall, man.
Yeah, he's a gun.
I love Terrace Marshall. He's, I'm going to say he's a buy low in the dynasty circles at the moment, because he hasn't quite done what you're expecting. Well, not what you're expecting, but what you were hoping for coming into this first 3 weeks. But the Robbie Anderson thing, the connection's always going to be there, right? So it's just a matter of time before it kind of rears its head and says, "Oh, don't forget, we used to play together. We've got this rapport. We can still do this." It wouldn't surprise me if this was the game. As you said, this secondary in the Cowboys is ordinary. I could see even 1 or 2 long bombs to Robbie Anderson, and if you get 2 or 3 of them, chance of getting a touchdown pretty high against the secondary. So, look, I think I've almost talked myself into this stack. Actually, you've turned me around. But yeah, if this point total is accurate, and Vegas are usually pretty good at it, right?
Yeah.
Look, I've talked myself into it.
Hey, there you go. Talk to us about Tuba Hubbard. He's sitting here at sub 6K. He's 12.830 on Draft Stars. I honestly am nervous about how they'll use both him and Royce Freeman. I don't know if what I saw against the Texans last week was enough for me to go, yes, Tuba is going to be the man. Royce Freeman was around the mark a little bit. They used him, and Tuba Hubbard dropped that touchdown, and then they what was it? I can't remember what happened to the play afterwards, but I'm pretty sure they scored. How do you see this split going?
Potentially. I know I say I love Chuba Hubbard. I got a bit of a chubba for him, but Cowboys aren't giving up too many points to the running back. So I think a little reluctant. I think I'd go with the wide receivers. They're known to leak points at wide receiver, right? So I think that's probably the safer option. We don't really know what the split's going to be. This is the first time that CMC is going to be out completely, right? So look, hard to take your money and stick it on either of these two guys, but yet to be seen.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's talk Cowboys now. We've talked a lot of Panthers. Should this just be another game where they keep rolling through? CeeDee Lamb and Murray Cooper get 10 targets each, and they just score lots and lots of points, or is there, as we should be asking when it comes to DFS, especially, is how likely is the opposite to happen? How likely is this game to actually be shut down by the Panthers defense, or they can't get things going in the air? Like, how do you see that?
It's tough. I think they want to be more of a balanced team, right? So they don't just want to be that team that throws 50 passes a game and 20 of them go to Gallup, or not Gallup, he's gone. CeeDee Lamb, and 20 go to Cooper. It's I don't think it's really what they want to be doing, and they've kind of showed us in the last couple of weeks where Pollard and Zeke are both out there. That they kind of want to get that kind of the ground game established a little bit more. So as much as you say that they probably want to get that volume down on Dak, if Zeke and Pollard keep doing what they're doing, they've got a good balance, and you can see those wide receivers getting freed up even more. So if anything, it's Cooper and Lamb. They're almost a smash play here as well. So
they're both playing the same amount of snaps. Well, last week and week 2, they both play the exact same amount of snaps. Interestingly, last week you saw Cedric Wilson play 38% and Noah Brown play 30%. So they kind of split that wide receiver 3 role between the two of them. You saw both of them kind of take a couple of catches. If you kind of want to punt and take one of these cheap guys in a high scoring game, if you think it's going to be high scoring, then I think you can possibly go with those guys.
I'd go with Wilson over Brown. I think Wilson's probably got that snap percentage a little bit more. He scored the touchdown last week as well. So if I was to pick one of those two, it'd be Wilson for sure.
Yeah, he's proven himself, I think, in the past as well. He's basement price on Draft Stars at 6K, Cedric Wilson. So if you're looking for that stack, then I think Wilson could be a nice pairing with Lamb or Cooper to work through that. Tony Pollard and Zeke. Pollard's still basement price on Draft Stars at 8K, which does my head in, because he has shown that he has a clear role in this offense, and they're going to get him the ball. And he is explosive. He's really chunking out big gains. Ezekiel Elliott is he's the ground and pound guy, but Pollard he's exciting to me. I honestly am getting vibes of that Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler split from a few years ago, when eventually Eckler just took the role and Melvin Gordon, he left. Like, one injury to Zeke here, and I feel like they're going to realize that they've got a running back in Tony Pollard, that they don't need Zeke and his price tag attached to it. So I'm excited by Pollard, that's for sure. But in this game, at 8K on Draft Stars, I think he's going to be in a lot of my lineups.
Yeah, it's good value. They definitely want to use him. I think that's very, very clear. But Zeke's still going to get his, I think, especially in this game when it's probably going to be pretty close. So they're going to have to keep that balance going. But yeah,
no, fair enough. What do you think about the long term outlook here for Zeke and Pollard? Can you see that, or am I just am I getting onto something that's not there?
I think they'd be crazy to get rid of Zeke. I mean, He's signed a big contract, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just having a look at Spotrac now just to see what his out would be and how much it would cost in dead cap. I don't think so. They've got an out in 2023, so the dead cap is enormous up until then. So he's there at least until 2023, and even then it's 11 million if they cut him. So yeah, look, I don't think they're going to get rid of him, and I think they'll still feed him until he just can't run anymore. I think he's a good running back. I mean, he started off slow. People were worried, but him in the blocking game is outstanding. Him in the running game, outstanding. He can catch the ball if he needs to. So, yeah, look, you might be spinning up a narrative, but you can almost see it.
You can.
Pollard is good, though. He's a great complementary pair to him. He's like the old Kamara Ingram, right?
Yeah,
sort of the same thing. That's what everyone was kind of hoping there'd be a backfield like that. I think this one's pretty close to it.
Yeah, for sure. Which is so different to what we might have expected with the amount of passing that they would have done.
Yeah, and the wide receivers that they've got, right?
That's right. Talk to me quickly about Tommy Tremble, because Tommy Tremble came out, he got that touchdown, and he caught that big pass down the line towards the end of the game. They just got rid of Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold's gone to the Jags. They needed help at cornerback, so they've traded away Dan Arnold. Tommy Tremble looks to be the pass catching tight end here for the Panthers, especially because Ian Thomas has shown us for a number of years that he is not going to be used in that capacity, or they don't want to anyway.
Yeah, look, we did a bit of scouting on Tommy Tremble in the off season. Obviously, coming into rookie drafts in dynasty leagues, it's pretty much our wheelhouse. We didn't have heaps to say on him. He showed glimpses in college that he could be a decent option. I'm actually a little bit bullish on him, to be honest. I kind of like the spot that he's in. And as you said, Dan Arnold, he was doing some work over there as well. It's not as though he wasn't doing anything for the Panthers.
No, that's right.
So there's definitely opportunity there. For what he's paying on these DFS sites, what have we got? He's literally basement.
Yeah, basement on both.
Yeah, he catches one touchdown, you're cheering, right? And you can easily see it happening in this high-scoring game. So he's definitely a sneaky.
Yeah,
definitely a sneaky. I've picked him up in many places.
Yeah,
many places.
Yeah, I think I like what he showed last week. It was exciting to watch. I love seeing these guys pop out. Alrighty, let's talk New York Giants and New Orleans Saints. You got Kamara and Barkley there, just top of the price list. I think you can play both of them. But I don't know. I feel like this is another one of those kind of icky games that I'm looking at going, there's a 43.5 point total. New Orleans are 7.5 points favorites. I mean, sure, Daniel Jones might put points on the ground, but I am not loving him as a passer because especially Sterling Shepard didn't practice Wednesday. Slayton didn't practice Wednesday, both looking unlikely for the weekend with hamstrings. So I don't know. This is a game I just kind of want to steer clear of and not really touch.
Yeah, look, Kamara's probably going to smash here, I guess. I don't see him even reaching 43.5 as well. I mean, coming off last couple of weeks with Winston throwing a few Winston balls.
Oh yeah.
I think they're going to try and right the ship, and they're going to try and do it on the ground. Yeah, look, that's probably the only one I'm really, really confident on. Even Saquon. I mean, he showed he was there again last week, but yeah, I think the Giants are a long way away from winning against the Saints. So, yeah, I think Kamara is probably the only one I'm really confident on, on playing here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I think looking at this, maybe Evan Engram comes in and plays the target hog role.
Yeah, potentially.
He can do it. He can do it. It's just whether he drops him, he's going to drop a lot or not. So we'll watch that. But look, he's cheap. He's coming really cheap on both DFS sites. So I can see myself, peppering him in with a couple of those lineups.
Yeah, if Shepard's out, which is, as you said, looking likely, hamstrings are always a bit dodgy. I think he just takes his volume. Yeah,
you can just step right in.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I'm actually looking to see if Tony gets on the field and doesn't work this game. Tell you what, us dynasty lovers.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, everyone had a go at the Giants for taking Tony where they did.
Surely you got to put him on the field now that everyone's injured, right?
You'd think so. You'd think he'd get a shot, but against the the Saints defense, it's going to be tough to watch.
Absolutely.
Let's move on. Kansas City Chiefs at Philly.
Ooh.
This is a game as a Philly supporter that I'm dreading. I'm really dreading this game. It looks, after watching Hurts last week, man, I felt like, yeah, we're going against the Cowboys. We're going to put up a lot of points, be in this game. And then when we weren't by such a long way, coming up against the Chiefs now, I can't believe that the Chiefs are only 7.5 point favorites, to be honest, in a 54.5 point total. Like I think what we saw last week with Philly against Cowboys is that this game could hit the under very easily, and that the Chiefs can just roll over the top of us. So it's I don't know. What do you make of the outcome of this game?
The saving grace for the Eagles fans out there, and I know there's one of them I'm currently looking at here.
I'm listening.
The Chiefs are terrible against the quarterback. Terrible. Fourth worst against quarterback for fantasy scoring. So you've got some hope there for Hurts that he can have a bounce back game and come out and smash. So look, I think it's going to be an under, but just an under.
Fair enough.
See. I still think it's going to be high scoring. There's some hope there for the Eagles that they can put up points. I don't think they're going to win. I think Chiefs will win, but I've said that for the last 3 weeks and they've lost 2 of them. So putting the mocker on them. My main dynasty league, I own Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. I just wanted to get that out there into the universe because that's a great stack to have. So yeah, play all those 3, but you're obviously not going to be able to afford them. The wide receiver, talk to me about the wide receivers and Eagles because I just don't know what to do.
Neither do I. Devonta Smith here is like he should be the one, and he should be doing
right.
100%. He should have all the opportunity, and so in a game like this, I could see him scoring a touchdown for sure. And he's priced under $6K on DraftKings, and he's priced at 11,570 on DraftStars. Like it's decent pricing, but it's really middle ground. Like it's hard to kind of see what to do here with Smith. You got Rager coming in at a bunch cheaper, $3K cheaper on DraftStars, which is nice. And again, I think what we might be seeing is that there is actually it's a 1A 1B type of thing going on with the wide receivers with Smith and Rager. So because I think they have the 2 wide receivers that they want to see into the future to develop into that tag team with Rager and Smith, but whether it's actually going to work or not is still a question in my mind. So it's tricky here, but I mean, if you're going to do a Hurt stack because, like you say, the Chiefs are trash against the quarterback, then I think you could go either Smith or Rager. And I probably would lean Rager a little bit more just because he's cheaper, because I feel like the output is similar in terms of what we might get. Because Devonta Smith, I don't know, maybe Devonta Smith just really lights it up, and we see Heisman Trophy winner Devonta Smith just carve it up this game. But again, it's been tricky. Looking at the points, like defense versus, you've got the Chiefs here actually giving the 4th most DK points to the running back position, which if I didn't see what happened last week, I would be going, sweet, let's play Miles Sanders.
2 carries. What is that?
2 carries.
2 carries.
I'm like looking at my new head coach Sirianni and going, what the actual are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
What is going on here? So, I mean, I'm looking at that and going, okay, sure, maybe Miles Sanders is a good play, but if we're going to see the usage that happened last week, then I'm kind of like, I'm avoiding it at all costs. So that's a scary thing for me here. So yeah, on the Philly side, it's all question marks. And maybe that's just I'm a biased Philly supporter, and I'm just got the the supporters' nerves that go along with all of this. But I'm pretty nervous to play any Eagles. But Hurts, you could potentially even play by himself. You don't have to stack him because he's going to get stuff done on the ground. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm actually going to take a stab here at Quez Watkins breaking off a big long touchdown. They're using him a little bit more than I was expecting. It's true. As a dynasty fan, I picked him up at the start of last year. That was his rookie year last year, wasn't it? Yeah. And picked him back up off waivers again this year because I think they want to use this guy. He's got the speed.
Yeah.
I can see him against this Chiefs defense, not the best in the secondary region.
That's true.
You could see him snapping off a long one.
Yeah, no, 100%. I could definitely see that. That's for sure. Now, so yeah, Quez Watkins
He's
at
cheap
6.
too.
He's so cheap. That's right.
Yeah.
So 6K on Draft Stars.
That's why I'm bringing it up essentially.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fair thing to bring up. If you're going to go Mahomes, Kelsey, or Hill, that's going to take up so much of your salary.
Yeah.
So if you do it, then you would bring it back with the Quez Watkins.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You got to find those one play to win you the game kind of plays, and Quez Watkins is a chance.
Yeah, and I think it's because they're so expensive.
It's so hard to stack those three.
It is, but that often means that their roster percentage is down, which can actually mean it turns into a good play, especially if you do have to stack it with some of those kind of one play to make it kind of type things like with Quez, and a couple of those hit. Chances are you're getting a great floor with Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill, and those extra guys can potentially skyrocket you into, cashing, getting some good wins. So I'm not afraid to stack those three for the potential of what it can do. And Hill, I think, he's gunning for a big game. He needs it after the last couple of weeks.
Eagles aren't putting up massive points to the wide receiver, though. I noticed that today. They're pretty good against the wide receiver somehow. Yeah,
it surprised me because Darius Slay had a rubbish year last year. So they've obviously improved in that area, which is good. Let's move on to the Texans and Bills. Buffalo here are 16.5-point favorites at a 48-point total.
Start Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's right. Start everyone, really?
Probably start the wide receivers. Running backs, maybe not so much.
Yeah. I think you can avoid Moss and Singletary. They are going to potentially just kind of tag team. You don't know who's going to win here. I mean, potentially you could get another 2-touchdown game for one of these guys, but predicting that's really, really hard. Cole Beasley, I think, is the guy that everyone, like, as much as he's a Twitter fiend, Cole Beasley is a guy that is really, really safe play. Emanuel
He's
Sanders
a Sheep Station favourite, Cole Beasley. We love that guy.
Good stuff. Emanuel Sanders is also pushing up, though, in terms of his snap percentage. So you can look at him to potentially make some big plays as well.
Last week he had a cracker, right? 2 touchdowns.
That's right. So, I like that. I like really, I'm looking at this and going, okay, let's play all the Bills. And you could stack it and potentially run it back with Brandon Cooks, because Brandon Cooks is, I think, underpriced for what he can do.
He's so underrated. He just went in a trade in our main league for Gallup and a future second or something like that. And I was just like, mate, whoever gets Brandon Cooks he's killing it, because he's 100 yards every game. Like, he's super underrated. And at this price, 6,400 on DraftKings and 11,660 on Stars. I mean, if you can get him in there, I think he's a goer. Yeah, even with Davis the Neck Mills, as we call him.
Man, he's something to rival Mike Glennon, that's for sure. So, look, if you're gonna, because you can go onslaught the Bills here, you can really just kind of push them all onto the field, expect them to do well. They're gonna just rake in the points. They have to keep pushing the ball somehow, and they don't like to run it. So maybe Cole Beasley's just the guy. He's just going to get 13 receptions this week because they just need to keep pushing it down the field, but they want to do it short because they want to save time. Who knows? But Brandon Cooks is the guy that Mills is going to funnel it to. So, yeah, I like that. I don't think you're playing anyone else here. I mean, you can play the Bills defense, but they're expensive. You don't want to touch any of the Texans' skill players at all. I think potentially Anthony Miller, because he's so damn cheap at $6,250 after looking all right against the Panthers last week. But otherwise,
it's hard isn't it, for the Texans. It's hard. Outside of Cooks, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's move on then to your boys, the Cardinals.
Good grief.
Taking on the Rams.
I love the 3-0s.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game with Kyler Murray and Stafford just playing out of their skin. Like, both of these guys are just playing great football. What do you, give me your Cardinals fan take first. Just give me an insight to how you're feeling towards this game.
Big test, huge test, actually. Obviously, any game against the Rams is a big test. Squeaked away a win against the Vikings. Played very well against the Titans, and then the Jags we always play down. I'm worried that we're not going to get away with W here. I think the Rams are just looking next level. I mean, they absolutely pumped the Bucks, and who would have thought it, right? So I'm a little bit concerned that we're obviously not going to take the W, which I'm only going to start Kyler, and I don't think I'm going to start Hopkins. He's probably going to get matched up with Ramsey, and he's got a little sneaky niggle.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to start anyone from the Cardinals, it's Kyler, and it's probably Christian Kirk, if I'm being honest with you.
He's been surprisingly good.
Yeah, the volume's there. The snap percentage is there. He's playing for a contract, essentially, right? So he's essentially playing himself into his next contract because he's looking really, really good. This price on Kings and Stars, 5,300 on DraftKings, 8,680 on Draft Stars. I could see him going for 100 yards at least, hopefully throwing a touchdown. Ramsey and everyone's going to be on Hopkins. AJ Green might get a little bit of coverage from the guys deep. I think he's got a huge amount of deep targets, or the second or third highest in deep targets in the NFL, so which is very, very surprising. So he's still showing a little bit of juice.
If you look at the snap percentage, actually, AJ Green last week played 79% of the snaps compared to Christian Kirk's 57%.
There you go.
So if you're looking for a chance, then potentially you're looking at that and going, oh, hey, maybe AJ Green's the guy. And that's been the same throughout every week. Team snap percentage for the last 3 weeks. AJ Green's been on the park 81% of snaps, whereas Christian Kirk's been on there 58% of snaps.
There you go.
Which is surprising considering that Kirk's been way more productive.
Yeah, well, I think there was a bit of hype over Rondale Moore doing the same thing, right? He was on minimal snap percentage and still doing work. I don't see him getting on as much in this very, very important game unless something's going on, and they've got a gadget play for him that it's just going to blow the top off. But yeah, I don't know. I still think Kirk would be the player over AJ Green. If I was going to put one in my lineup, it's Christian Kirk.
Well, if you're looking at targets per snap, then you're looking at Christian Kirk there for sure.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that surprised me on the other side. This is where the DraftKings and Draft Stars pricing does my head in. You've got Robert Woods and Christian Kirk both on 5,300. And then you got Robert Woods at 12,570 compared to Christian Kirk's 8,680 on Draft Stars. Like, he's $4,000 more expensive for a guy that really hasn't shown anything. It's really Cooper Kupp. Like, it's all Cooper Kupp. So
it's like they're still pricing him for the last couple of years, Robert Woods, right?
Yeah.
And expecting him, oh, well, he did this for the last 2 years. It's coming, so we're just going to keep the price up there just in case. This is the week, right?
I know. Do you think it could be the week for Woods? I mean, Arizona haven't been super tough.
If any week is going to be the week, it's probably going to be this one. And I reckon there's probably been a lot of people that said it, but they really do need to put up points here, I think, because Arizona will put points up. It's just a matter of whether they can do it without, throwing the interceptions and leaking the points. So they're going to have to score them. Cooper Kupp, whether he gets shadowed by someone, I don't think the Cardinals are known for shadowing. The defense is leaking points. Yeah, look, this could be the week for the Woods. Could be. I don't want to say it's a guarantee, but this is probably the higher percentage chance of it happening.
No, fair enough. Well, there you go. I'm not going to play him in Draft Stars then, not at all. But DraftKings, that's right. Running backs, nervous about. Kind of Darrell Henderson did some work Wednesday, but Chase Edmonds is the only guy that I'd consider playing here.
I hate it.
So let's just not. Let's not.
Let's just say don't start a Cardinals running back. Don't expect 2 touchdowns from James Conner again.
No, heck no.
Good Lord.
That's it. Other basement plays here. Van Jefferson at 3,900 on Kings and 6,100 on Draft Stars. Deshaun Jackson 3,800 and 6K. Both of these guys, I think, are very, very playable in stacks as your cheaper wide receiver. So I like both of those guys.
Well, they had a few shots at Deshaun Jackson last week, right?
Yes, they did.
Missed on one, he just couldn't find the ball, and then they hit on the next one. So, yeah, there's worse plays out there.
Yeah, 100%. So no.
Tight end room, are you starting any tight ends?
No, I don't think so. Higbee's off and on, and I feel like you guys have been pretty solid against the tight end. The Cardinals have given up 4.3 DraftKings points per game.
That's
to the
average.
tight end. So I'm going to
That used to be our kind of weak point too, right? So
yeah, he really showed up against it. For sure.
Simmons and whatnot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Next game, we got Seattle Seahawks against the 49ers. I love the Seahawks. Oh, yeah. I love Wilson stacks. Give me Wilson and Metcalf or Wilson and Lockett. On Draft Stars, Lockett plummeted to 12,500, which is ridiculous to me because the week ago it was 16,000. So it's funny that we're talking about kind of taking into last year into account. Well, Tyler Lockett's just really gotten cheap at 12,500 on Draft Stars. So I think I'll be playing a bunch of Wilson Lockett. Bring it back with a Deebo Samuel, or I don't know if I bring back with George Kittle. He's a little bit too expensive for mine on Draft Stars, but Lockett I really like here. What do you make of the Seahawks? Do you think they can get it done? They're 3 points underdogs in a 52.5 point total.
It actually surprises me. I thought they might have been favoured here. I think the Seahawks will win this. Coming off who they played last week, it was a close game. Remind me.
Oh gosh, it's escaped my mind as well. Far out.
I think they had a loss, but to the Vikings. They lost to the Vikings, right?
Oh, of course.
So I think it's hard to see them losing 3 in a row. Very rare that Seattle would lose 3 in a row. So I reckon they're going to come out firing here. The Niners, I don't know, they haven't been spectacular. Still trying to find their way in this offense, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I think Jimmy G gets blown out of the water here.
Yeah, could do.
I don't think the offense is going to be able to keep up. I think that's what we'll see.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I'm a fan of...
that stack of Lockett and Wilson's a great call, I reckon.
And you're getting it for not too much of your salary cap as well, which is pretty nice. Let's talk, looking at the running back situation. I mean, Chris Carson's fine. You can probably play him if you think this is going to be a high point game. I don't think he's going to have high rostership or anything like that. On the outside of those, really where it gets interesting, Carl Juszczyk. Shout out to Carl Juszczyk because he won me some money. Came top of the table in the $2 mini in the showdown last week. There, that was very nice. And Carl Juszczyk's touchdown there at the end just sealed the deal. So thank you very much, Carl Juszczyk. I don't know if I wouldn't play him again though. Even though he is basement.
It's going to be interesting to see is Mitchell back.
That's the big question.
Yeah.
If he is, it looks like they'll use him. Trey Sermon again just can't get anything done.
So disappointing. I hate it so much because I have him in my Dynasty League and the main one I care about, and it's ruined my week. Ruined my year, this bloody Sermon bloke. Do something, mate.
Yeah, I reckon. Just like poking him with that stick, what does that mean? But Eli Mitchell on Draft Stars is 83.30. So if he comes back and he plays a full set of snaps, that's an absolute bargain here against the Seahawks, which I'm pretty sure are not that great against the running backs. No, giving 39 points a game to the running backs. So this could be a game where we do see the San Francisco running back, whoever it is, tear it up. This could be Sermon's bounce back week. You never know.
Let's hope so, because if he's not, he's Serm off my roster, let me tell you.
Yeah, good one. I like that one.
I thought about that for the last 5 minutes. I actually had to Google and make sure no one else has said it.
Okay. Anyway, so look, this is a game you can stack. Brandon Ayuk came back and looked pretty solid as well. So he looks to be back in the good graces. And if George Kittle, who didn't practice Wednesday, doesn't play in the end, then I think Brandon Ayuk here is a nice bring back off of a Wilson stack.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, let's keep moving. Baltimore Ravens at the Broncos. This is an intriguing game for mine because I thought I was on the Ravens, and then they had that woeful game against the Lions where they really shouldn't have won, except for Lamar Jackson's fourth down heroics.
And extended play clock.
Yeah, that's right.
Supposedly,
that's right. What if the TV was out?
Yeah.
Marquise Brown's always in there for a big couple of plays. He showed that week 1 and week 2. He's pretty cheap on Draft Stars. So I don't mind him here against the Broncos, but the Broncos have been tight. They've been a really tight offense. So defense, I should say. Sorry. Anyone here that you're like, yeah, really keen to play?
Tim Patrick for me.
Yep.
The volume's got to be there. You've lost Judy. They lost KJ Hamler last week as well. So it's Sutton and it's Tim Patrick, and Tim Patrick's pretty cheap. They're going to need to pass the ball here. The Ravens will probably score some points, you would say. Yeah. So yeah, Tim Patrick's the one I'm looking at that price. 4,900 on DraftKings, 9,000 on Draft Stars.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's my play out of this one for the value for sure.
Yeah, nice. I like that. Surprisingly, Denver at the moment are 1-point favorites against the Reds.
That's real surprising, hey?
Yeah, that does.
I mean, they're the ones that are 3-0 against the 0-9 teams, right?
Yes.
So this is their biggest test so far.
Yeah.
Lamar. I hate Lamar Jackson. And you, as the out of our podcast, are going to crucify me for saying this, but I just don't like him as a quarterback. Great running back. But
you're one of these guys, hey?
I can never get around him, hey. It's just, he really grinds my gears. It's just, why can people not stop the guy? That's what annoys me the most. I mean, he's very good. He's a great player. No, don't get me wrong. I just don't like him.
You're entitled to your opinion, Chris.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But in saying that, play him in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you can play him. He's good. He's good. Let's keep moving. We've got a few more games to get through, and then we'll call it for the night. Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Green Bay Packers. Here it is, last game of the main slate. Pittsburgh, speaking of teams I don't like Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
there's nothing about it that gets me excited except Najee Harris. But Najee Harris is running behind a really shocking O-line, and he had to have 19 targets to actually have a really solid game. I mean, it was a great game. It was RB1 in the week. But 19 targets? That's so unsustainable.
It's crazy.
Do we think Najee Harris can actually stay as an RB1 type play for the rest of the year? Out of necessity, perhaps? Maybe that's how it comes.
I actually watched a clip on Twitter. I don't remember who put it on today. A lot of people giving the Steelers line a bit of a flacking, but there was a wonderful play to highlight the fact that maybe Najee Harris isn't quite running as well as he should be. They literally parted the Red Sea for him, and he cut away from it.
No,
he would have taken it to the house, or pretty close to it. I reckon there was probably one corner in the backfield that would have stopped him. But literally a perfect gap, and he just cuts away from it. So he's still got a bit of work to do. But if he's getting 19 targets again, I mean, holy moly. Who's the limit? Deontay Johnson's still limited in practice. Juju's gone down with a rib injury. He didn't practice this week, or so far this week. So Claypool and Najee Harris are the two I'm looking at out of this game if I was to pick some Steelers. Claypool, 6,100 on DraftKings, 12,000 on Draft Stars. Probably a bit much.
Yeah, probably is. He shows that he, last week he had a great fantasy week. So
he's kind of saved, right? That second half, bit of garbage time stuff. Caught a lot of passes late.
Yeah, that's right. So he's there. I mean, he's the guy that scored 3 touchdowns in a game, right? Against Philly.
Exactly. He'd be the one I'd play just for that upside shot, right?
Yeah, I think so. Speaking of upside, though, I think you're looking at the Green Bay Packers side of things, and you could see potentially, I don't know, well, Marcus Valdes-Scantling isn't going to play. He's got a hammy issue, so we're probably unlikely there. Alan Lazard comes in basement price. Could he be someone that has a bit of a breakout game here as he moves into that? Or do we see Randall Cobb be a guy that's relied upon in the passing game? Or do we just go, no, stuff it, we just have to play Adams and that's it?
Yeah, it's going to be a high target volume for Adams, and I think that's why he's priced almost at $20,000 on Draft
so
Stars,
expensive.
Right? Yeah, that's probably the highest I've seen so far, actually.
He's benefited on DraftKings because they price things before the Monday night games finish. So he's sitting there at 7,900 on DraftKings. He's going to be so highly rostered. It's crazy.
Yeah. This Alan Lazard topic that you just brought up, he's been a guy I've been watching for a long time. He's a great blocking wide receiver. He just doesn't seem to get the volume. But when I'd like to see the stat, I don't know it, so don't hold me to it. But when MVS is out, I'd like to see what his target volume looks like, because all the coverage has got to go to Adams, right? Steelers' defense not quite where it should be. They want to be better than what they are. Whether they kind of target Devontae Adams and then it's a Robert Tonyan game, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be the go. And he's pretty cheap, Robert Tonyan.
He is 6,500 on Draft Stars for a tight end's not too bad at all. 4,500 on DraftKings. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. So yeah,
I don't want to throw my hat on Randall Cobb, by the way.
No, fair enough. No, he's just too old.
I don't know how he's still there. My goodness,
it's surprising, isn't it? There you go. Yeah, I think look, you can play Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, but
if you can afford it, right?
Yeah, that's right. You have to really again. I don't know if they're as safe as, say, a Mahomes stack. That's the question, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's wrap it up. There you go. That's the main slate done. Couple of quick takes here on our Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football games. You got Tampa Bay taking on the Patriots. We've got to talk about it. It's Brady returning to Boston.
It's a fun one, isn't it?
It's going to be fun to watch. Everyone is going to be watching that. He's going to break the passing record unless he gets injured and he ends his career. So that's the two options here, I think.
Yep. I think Tampa Bay are going to absolutely steamroll them.
Oh, it's going to be...
wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, I agree. Mac Jones is just going to get an absolute lesson in what it looks like to be a great quarterback. That's for sure. So now looking at that, and you're going to play Fournette because Fournette is the one. Ronald Jones is turning into nothing.
Yeah, it seems that way, right?
It does.
It seems to be catching or just being on the field, trying to catch passes a lot more than what I was expecting at the start of this year as well. So it's good news.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So look, you're going to play Brady. You're going to avoid the Patriots. What do you make of Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar?
I hate it until I see it consistently and until they're getting a better roll on offense. Get it away from me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Stick them on your bench and stash them and hope that they hit in the next few weeks or there's some rapport or some better offensive play. But no, absolutely hate it.
I don't mind Jacoby Myers. Tampa Bay have given up a stack of points to wide receivers. So I'm going to sit there and go, potentially Jacoby Myers, especially with James White out. Yeah, Jacoby Myers could be Mac Jones's safety blanket, or potentially we see Johnny Smith and Hunter Henry take some of those targets as well.
Surely sometime they're going to be doing something, those two tight ends, right?
You'd think so.
Squillian, and they've done not much. So
no.
Yeah, look, I want to see it first before I put them in my lineup. That's for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Last game of the round.
Should be a cracker.
I can't wait for this one. The Raiders take on the Chargers. There's a 52.5 point total. You got 3.5 point favorites to the Chargers. The Chargers are clicking. Mike Williams is a guy that unfortunately I had to trade away in my rebuild team, but he is an absolute jet. I love watching him this year. Keenan Allen is on fire as well. So looking at this, you got everything about the Chargers is great. The Raiders, on the other hand, have been really good as well. I think Darren Waller should bounce back here into potentially 10 targets or more.
30
I don't know. There's a lot of.
Is that possible?
Yeah. Oh, look! I'd love to see it. I've got him in most of my redrafts, so love.
Every time I watch
Waller.
a Raiders game, I flick the play on. It's like, it's another target to Waller. It's another target to Waller. And another one.
Derek Carr has surprised me as well, though. This year, he's actually been very serviceable.
You got to remember, before he broke his leg, he was on an MVP season, right? He was pushing these Raiders up towards the playoffs, and he broke his leg. So he's got the ability, and he's putting it together at the moment. I mean, lucky against the Dolphins, I would say is probably the word. But beating the Ravens, beating the Steelers, it's a pretty good resume so far.
Yeah, 100% it is. Either way, you're going to be playing the showdown game on Draft Stars or DraftKings. I think it's going to be interesting watching the pricing. I don't think it's come out yet on Draft Stars, but either way, look, it's going to be a fun game. It's just there's so many options here in terms of how to make it work. I think if you're looking for those cheapy guys or like Jared Cook down the bottom there would probably be potentially a play that will probably be he'll be a popular cheapy guy. But then you got guys like, I don't know, Guyton, or on the other side you've got, who knows where Brian Edwards is going to be priced. Like, that's the question I have.
If it goes to overtime, stick Brian Edwards in your roster. Because he seems to be a fourth quarter overtime specialist.
Yeah, they've used him a lot in that spot, haven't they? They just waited till the defense has just gone, we're not going to use him, and then, we will.
Frustrating for a lot of people because there was heaps of hype in him on the off-season, and it just seems to be only in those overtime games that he comes down.
Yeah, that's right. Fun.
It'll be a fun game.
It'll be great. It'll be a good game. And that brings us to the end of our Week 4 preview. Guys, catch us on our socials and Patreon. As you heard at the top of the show, don't forget, if you sign up for DraftKings, it's dkng.co/TFL. But Chris, thank you so much for jumping on and chatting through the week with me. Remind our listeners where they can find you.
Hit us up on your iTunes and your Spotify, Sheep Station Dynasty Podcast. It's Sheep Station Pod on Twitter. We're pretty active on there at the moment, so hit us up on that. That's pretty much it, though. Give us a 45 5-star reviews like I've done for these TFL guys. But thanks for having me. It's been great fun. Feel free to go on some holidays again, and I'll come back and do it again.
That's it. Thanks, Chris. It was good stuff. Everyone at home, all the best. Enjoy week 4, and may all your teams win unless they're playing me.
And win many money.
That's right. Catch ya.